As you embark on your personal growth journey and immerse yourself in the work, do you often find that you somehow have outgrown the people in your lives? It's as if you're tired of these surface level conversations when you're craving much more, a deeper, more meaningful conversations. Or you're just tired of these energy vampires who, after spending time with them, you come home feeling so depleted and just lethargic. Or you're just plain tired of being the one in the relationship that's constantly doing the heavy lifting and adding value and giving of yourself, and the other person just taking it, and you just once again feel so depleted and empty, and you don't leave the conversation or the time spent together feeling uplifted and inspired. So how do you continue to grow and expand your network while setting healthy boundaries with the people in your lives and becoming more protective of your time, energy, and intentions in all your relationships? Hi, I'm Jacqueline, and welcome. We at Joyful Living Mindset are so excited that you're here because we believe that you have a great gift within you that's going to uplift humanity in some significant way. And we're here to help you navigate that journey and live your truth. So today, let's talk about how to set healthy boundaries as you continue to grow and expand on this journey of personal development and growth. Because oftentimes, the people in your life, they're not going to understand and keep up with you because you are accelerating and elevating yourself and your life and your awareness and your consciousness and thoughts at a level that they may not be ready to keep up with you. And there's nothing good or bad about that, but sometimes you want to be able to protect your time, your energy, and your intentions in a relationship so that the time that you spend with the people in your lives are meaningful and uplifting and inspiring, and you share this co-creative space together where you're both enjoying each other's company and the time that you're spent together, building memories and all of that. But oftentimes when it doesn't feel like that, how do you set healthy boundaries, especially when there are the people who are closest to you? So a lot of people, when they're in that space, they're really just focused on their growth, and they just somehow like say that they're just gonna cut off these people that no longer serve them, or that they just kind of minimize the time spent with them without any kind of rhyme or reason, or in most cases, they actually start to build an adversarial relationship with that person. And they start to notice more and more all of the bad qualities about that person and how irritating and annoying that spending time with that person or every single interaction with that person creates within you. And here's the truth to what's really going on, is that simply you are now operating at a whole new level that the people in your lives are currently not. They are going along at the pace and way that they are comfortable with, that they know, and they're not yet ready to step into that space, to face discomfort, to face uncertainties, to challenge their own views and their values and what they've always known the way that you are. And oftentimes that creates like this rift between the two of you. They're frustrated at you and confused about you just as much as you're frustrated with them and confused about them of why they would choose to continue living that way when you know that there's a better way of living, because you're constantly doing that every single day as you commit to this personal growth work and journey that you're on. And oftentimes, from my experience, the best way to do that is just to recognize, just that plain acknowledgement and recognition that they are where they are and you are where they are. And in fact, last week when I was at a business conference, a friend of mine asked me the same exact scenario, and that she's finding that she is now isolating herself from her family because she can't relate to them and they don't relate to her. And every time that they interact with one another, there's just more tension and irritation and annoyance, and it just doesn't end well. And so she asked me, I feel bad cutting them off, but I just can't, I just don't have the time and the energy and the space to deal with all of this. And what I advised her is that we have to understand, one, is just like that awareness, right? It's that they are where they are and we are where we are. There's nothing wrong or right about it. There's no right or wrong about it. And what we really need to focus on is just be in appreciating awareness of everyone's pace and where everyone is. And sometimes when we are dealing with the closest people in our lives, especially our family or our close friends, it's harder for us because we want so much more from them and for them. And when we don't see that or feel that or experience that, we are more aware of that contrast because we're operating at a higher vibration and frequency. And so that tends to trigger us more than anything, because really at the end of the day, it's really about us and how we are reacting to external stimulus in our lives. So we really have to stop and think, and this is what I advise my friend, is that we really have to stop and think, is that one, you really have to assess the importance of that relationship playing in your role. Because sometimes, even though the interaction may not always be positive, but they are family and they are still very important to you. There hasn't been any deal breakers or whatnot where you can just absolutely say and make a stand where I will not deal with that in my life and cut them off for healthy reasons and purposes. In this case, that's not the situation. And so we have to realize that we still want them in our lives, but the first way that we can set healthy boundaries is for us to reflect on what is it that they are triggering within us that we still need to work on in our personal growth journey, so that when we do decide to spend time with them or interact with them, we are bringing our higher self into the relationship, and we're looking at them through the eyes of love and gratitude and happiness, rather than just seeing all the faults in them. And it's really hard to accept, and trust me, when I shared that with my friend, like, she resisted it. I mean, she pushed against that and she fought it tooth and nail. But at the end of the day, the truth is that we really have to take a hard look at if interacting with somebody is causing us to have such a strong negative reaction to them, then we have to ask ourselves, what is it that they are triggering within us that's causing that negative reaction? And until we can figure that out and dissolve whatever block or limiting belief that we have around that, and kind of recenter ourselves and kind of restore ourselves from a place of love and gratitude, then that relationship will continue to have tension and conflict and negativity. So that's really the first thing, actually the second thing, right? The first is the awareness of where you are and where they are. Second is to assess what is it that they are triggering within you that you need to address, right? And then the third is to really give yourself grace and space as you are growing and becoming this new, evolved, and best version of yourself day in day. day by day, and also expanding your awareness and expanding your network and expanding your consciousness of what is it that you want to be doing, being, having, experiencing, creating, and impacting in the world. And so you sometimes have to give yourself that grace and space to dream, to experiment, to just sit in reflection, to work on your inner selves and kind of restore that balance of love and gratitude and happiness again, so that you can move forward with more clarity. And sometimes that will require you to set some boundaries. And when I say set healthy boundaries, what I really mean, and what's worked wonders for me, is really becoming more intentional with how I spend my time and energy. And so, for instance, with me, with my family, you know, I don't know if you can relate to this, but in my family, it seems like I am the only one who is choosing this path to be immersed in personal growth and development, constantly committing myself to the work. And so my viewpoints and perception and values are so different than my family. And when we're together, it's very hard for me to connect with them, and it's also hard for them to connect with me. And so oftentimes I would literally become very intentional with how, when, and how much time I spend with them. So I would give myself space and grace to do my learning, do my growing, and expand myself in this new space and step into that next best version of myself. And then I would limit my exposure to my family or my friends who don't share the same values or interests or support, but I still want them in my life, and that the value is that they are my family, they are my closest friends, they have seen me at my worst and at my best, and with them I can just kind of like tie my hair up or let my hair down and just show up as me without any kind of like having my cape on all the time and being strong and whatnot. And sometimes you just kind of need those kind of relationships in your life to just kind of like decompress, like somebody who just gets you and they just want to be there to, you know, share a good meal together, right? And exchange recipes and just like fun things like that you don't always have to be in evolvement state, right? And so I intentionally set that for me, where it's really important for me to connect with my family and my friends at that level as well, because sometimes I do need a break from all this evolving and growing and expanding, because it does take a lot from you on this journey, right? And sometimes when I make that, and with that intention, I would say, okay, so I'm going to make sure to carve out time in my calendar to have family dinner and visit my parents and have family dinner, let's say either once a month, if I'm super busy traveling and doing client work and all of that, or every other week if schedule permits. But I'm very intentional, right? And I don't go over every day, I don't go over every week. I become very intentional of kind of limiting my exposure of either every other week or once a month, whatever feels right for me given everything that was on my plate. And here's the thing, and when I do go over and spend time with them, I become very present and very intentional with spending time with them. So they get the best of me, right? I'm not going over there and dreading like, oh my gosh, it's like, here we go again. And I have to sit and listen to all these gossip and talk about like meaningless things. And no, it's like, I just know who they are and I know where they are, like that awareness from step one, right? And so I just come fully present, meeting them where they are, so that we can have a more meaningful time together, and that I can show up in love and gratitude for who they are, even though they may not share the same values, they might not share the same perspective or support that I would, but I am able to give the best of me to them in that moment that I set aside time to be present with them. And that's important for me because that's who I want to show up as part of the next best version of myself, is to always be present in all my relationships. Now, having said that, there are also people who are, I find, energy vampires. And no matter how best you try and how present you show up and with your best intentions, you still cannot share a space where there's joy, a space where love, gratitude, and happiness exist. And their negativity, their conviction to being unhappy, being ungrateful, being negative is so strong that your ray of sunshine and positivity and gratitude and love makes no difference in their life. And before, I would like constantly butt heads with these family members of mine. And now, over the years, as I've immersed myself in the work, I just realized that everybody is entitled to having their own space and living the way that they see fit for them, even if it doesn't make sense for me. And one of the hardest decisions that I have to do is to set healthy boundaries and love them from afar. Meaning that I have no ill intentions about them. I have loving thoughts and gratitude about them. I even include them in my daily prayers. I wish them well. However, I will not intentionally expose myself to their negativity when I know that it's only going to backlash on me and affect how I'm going to show up in every other aspect of my life, and that it's going to deplete me and drain me and deter me from showing up and being the best that I can for my clients or for my other family members or for other people in my life. And so in those cases, I just love them from afar, letting them know that I will always be here in love and in gratitude whenever they are ready to receive that. And if they're not ready to receive that yet, that's okay as well. I don't hold that against them. I don't judge them for it. I'm just going to be here with wide open arms whenever they are ready for it. And that took me a very long time to learn how to do. And it's the hardest one, especially when it comes to your closest family members. But for me, that's what I have found to work best for me, to keep my peace of mind, to keep me grounded and keep me present and showing up powerfully for those that I need to show up for in my life, whether that be my clients, my business partners, my peers, my immediate family, or other friends in my life. So again, I think the steps are, one is like just be in awareness that they are where they are and you are where you are, like no judgment around that, right? Two is to be in self-reflection. If you have a relationship that every time you interact with them, they're triggering you or you're getting annoyed and whatnot, is really be in self-reflection of what is it that they are triggering within you that you need to resolve so that you can show up grounded in love and gratitude as your best self to help foster a healthier relationship with that person going forward. Three is to be intentional with how you set your the frequency of how you want to spend time with them, of whatever frequency that works for you. And when you do, just be fully present and show up as you are and appreciating as they are, without any judgment, without trying to change them, and just giving yourself a break from all the expansion and growth work and having to evolve, right? You just show up as yourself, just be fully present with that. And then fourth is that sometimes you do have to kind of show this kind of tough love and love people from afar to protect your time, energy, and intentions in your relationship, because you're really effectively teaching others how to treat you. So those are the 4 steps, and I hope that that is helpful for you. I'd love to hear in the comments below what your experience has been in terms of how navigating setting healthy relationships has affected you, or the challenges that you are having as you're trying to set healthy boundaries, especially with those closest to you, whether that be your family, your spouse, your children, your close friends, and whatnot. And yeah, just let me know in the comments what questions you may have, the challenges that you're facing, or any other clarifications that you need. I'd love to read them and support you in any way that I can. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care. I'll see you later. Bye for now.